What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Coach Black, your internet, relationship, and breakup coach. Today's topic, this is exactly what happens when your ex realizes that the rebound cannot replace you. Now, I get some variation of this question every single day. And the question is, what if I'm doing no contact and I'm doing all of these things focused on myself, trying to grow and giving my ex the time and space? What if while I'm doing all of these things, my ex meets someone new, connects with them, and actually builds a relationship? And they start to give this person everything that they once promised to me, all of our plans for the future, all of the dreams to build a legacy together, whether that's buying a home, traveling the world, having kids, whatever variation of that legacy looks like, it can feel like such a tangible loss, and it causes people so much pain and fear. And that fear usually leads to you wanting to do something to solve the problem as soon as possible. How can I get my ex to notice what they're giving up on? How can I get them to feel the same loss and frustration that I'm feeling right now? And it's that fear of loss, that uncertainty that a lot of times causes you to want to break no contact. And even in the cases when you don't actually break no contact, maybe you start to do things to make your ex jealous or to get their attention. You block them, you unfollow them, just trying to rush the process and get them to react quicker. As you've heard on this channel before, I always say breakups, a lot of times, especially when you're implementing no contact, it's like baking a cake, and no amount of pressure that you can apply externally is going to make the cake bake any quicker. You can turn the heat up to the maximum, but a lot of times doing this only burns the cake. A lot of these things and trying to make your ex jealous that people do ends up making the situation worse. Maybe you fracture the relationship in the long run when you should just be staying away and focusing on yourself and giving your ex the time to go through the necessary stages to come back to you. If you haven't seen the video that I put out some time ago, the 5 stages that your ex goes through, I'm going to link that here so you can check it out, understand the journey that your ex is going on so you can really embrace that and stay the course. Now, sometimes your ex getting into a rebound is not just fear-based. Maybe something actually happens. They're on dating apps. Maybe you see them out or you hear about them dating someone else. Maybe they even got into a new relationship. Again, I want you to take a step back and understand and focus on the things you can control and understand the things that you can't. Because there's a lot of things that you cannot directly control. And your ex choosing to handle the breakup this way is one of those things. But I promise your ex's perspective can change once you understand the cycles and the journey. So one thing you have to understand, let's put ourselves in your ex's shoe from their perspective. What caused them to leave a lot of time in the first place is that they have this false sense of power. This is what happens when you give up the relationship. You walk away. You choose to go out and date other people and find something better. Even if your ex does this nicely, that's their perspective. That's their perception. They feel some sense of power because they did this. And that power tends to come with a lot of complacency. It tends to come with a lot of pride. And sometimes your ex will actually tell you things, and this is when you know your ex really thinks that they are at the top of the food chain. When they start to sound condescending in their language, they tell you things like, hey, like, you know, I wish you the best. I want you to go find someone better. Like, don't wait for me. Like, all of these things, even though it can be a very healthy thing for you to do, to just focus on yourself and walk away. And that's the mindset you should have. When your ex is telling you these things, a lot of times it's coming from a place of certainty because they know that they have you. At least that's how they feel. They're the ones that walked away. Your energy, your essence, your love for them is abundant, and they don't feel any fear currently of actually losing you. That's where a lot of these statements come from. Whenever your ex is pushing you away, sometimes it's not because they don't appreciate you. It's not because they don't enjoy the love. It's because they are so certain that pushing you away is not going to cause anything negative for them. They can push you away today and get you back tomorrow. Think about, let's say you walked up to a random stranger just walking down the street, and you told them, hey, I want to give you an oxygen tank. All right, I'm going to give you an oxygen tank, while they're just walking down the street, enjoying their day, enjoying their life. And they're like, no, I'm not interested. And you say, hey, if you don't take this oxygen tank, I'm going to walk away. You're never going to get the opportunity to get this oxygen tank. A lot of times they'll just look at you like you're crazy. I'm not going to put in the work and the effort it's going to take to carry that tank on my back when oxygen is abundant. I don't need it. They might insult you. They may treat you like you have no common sense, right? Because in the context of where things are currently, that person doesn't feel any fear. That person doesn't have any uncertainty of, where am I going to get oxygen? But if you put that same person, and send them scuba diving at the bottom of the ocean, and you try to take away their oxygen tank, I bet you the perspective has completely changed. Now, right, at the bottom of the ocean, there's a scarcity of resources. There's a scarcity of oxygen for them to breathe and survive. This is critical for their survival. And all of a sudden, the perspective of that same person can change. But it has everything to do with actually losing this valuable, tangible resource. The second thing that you should think about when it comes to your ex's mind and their perspective is that a lot of times, because they have all this power, because they feel so certain about your love for them and they think that they can have you whenever they want, that encourages them to go out into the world and see if the grass is greener. They already have you, and right now maybe things at the end of the relationship were challenging. There were fights, there were issues, and they're like, you know what? She loves me, he loves me. I don't have to worry about losing them. Let me go see if I can find someone better. That's the grass is always greener syndrome. It kind of reminds me of the Aesop's fable. Not sure if you've heard about this, but a dog was walking down a bridge with a bone in its mouth, all right? And as it was crossing the bridge, it looked down at the water, right? That's below the bridge. So the river, the water, whatever you want to call it. And it looks down, and the dog sees a reflection of itself with the bone. But obviously in the dog's mind, it's another dog that has a bigger, even juicier bone that is 10 times more nourishing, that's more satisfying than the bone it has in its mouth. And so what does the dog do? It attacks. It jumps into the river and it's barking, and it's like, I'm gonna get this other bone from this other dog. And obviously, as you know, the story goes is that sooner or later, the dog does this, jump and realizes that, it was just an illusion. All right. It wasn't reality. It was seeing its own reflection, and it wasn't a different dog. It wasn't a bigger bone. Matter of fact, it was the same bone. But now because it jumped into the river seeking something better, it lost the bone it had in its mouth in the first place because it was barking, trying to attack the other dog. This is the same type of thing that your ex has to go through. And again, if you've seen the 5 stages your ex goes through, you'll understand where I'm coming from with this. When the dog loses the bone, that's the first time that it comes to appreciate the fact that, wow, this whole time I was on a bridge, safe and dry, and I had a bone, and my life was amazing. But if you would have told the dog 5 minutes before it jumped, it probably wouldn't understand until it experienced the loss. Okay, and how does the dog know it lost the bone for real? When it goes to bite the bone and it's not there, right? It's not there anymore. This is what happens a lot of times to most people, is that we get focused and fixated on an illusion, and we think that someone else has it better. We think that the grass is greener. We think that the bone is bigger. And when the dog comes to terms with it and your ex, what happens next is a lot of times that sense of remorse, right? That feeling of sadness washes over your ex, and they realize that, maybe my previous relationship or my previous situation was a lot better. Because what you have over anyone new that your ex is going to meet is that you have history. Not only have you attracted them before, you've likely been through ups and downs and good and bad times, and you struggled through these challenges together. And while at the end of the relationship, your ex might have a negative mindset about things, all of the good memories are not gone forever. They're still in your ex's mind. And what happens a lot of times is, even in a rebound, your ex will get to a phase after the limerence is over. And if you don't know what limerence, it's just that feeling of excitement when something is new, right? A new relationship feels 10 times better. But after they go through that process with a new person, everything kind of stabilizes. It goes back to normal. And now they start to compare. They start to compare, like, my ex used to do this and my ex used to do that. Oh, they were an amazing person. So a lot of times it's best for you to lean on the fact that that you poured so much into this person's life. You did a lot for them to help them reach the next level. And even if they don't see that currently, it's not your job to always try to convince them and to remind them. Now, I'm not telling you to sit around waiting for your ex to decide to choose you, because part of them losing you, is you actually working on detaching. Regardless of the outcome, detaching and knowing that the only grounds that you're going to accept them is if they change their behavior. They start to see you as a catch. They start to remember the value that you add to their life. Okay, so you don't sit and wait, but allow your ex to go through the journey. Don't allow the fear to make you react prematurely. A lot of the people that I talk to, they're sending messages to their ex. They're trying to convince them. Some people are even talking about new people that their ex might be dating and saying, oh, she's a terrible person. She did this. And it just makes you look bad. It makes you look lesser than that person that you're trying to compete with. Because the truth is, you have no competition. No new person has all of the history that you have with your ex. So allow them to go through whatever their process is. Sometimes it's unhealthy. They rush into something new quickly. And as hurtful as that might be, it is not your job to fix your ex. It is not your job to show your ex the light. They have to go through this process on their own, and then they will derive a lesson from it, realize they had something special, and the next time around, they actually treat you like you deserve to be treated, right? So anyway, let me know your thoughts. If you have any comments that you want to share, drop them down in the comment section below. If you want to talk to me one-on-one about your situation, click the first link in description and we could talk about what you're going through, what your ex is doing, what are some of the signs that you're seeing. If you need help with that, so I can give you clarity and support. Again, we're not about begging. We're not about chasing. All right. We're about recognizing our value, but allowing your ex the opportunity to win you back. That's how things should be. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.